Alright guys, today I'm looking at Qatar's population, and there are two incredible statistics related to the population of Qatar, and it's quite astounding. But before I give you those two stats, let's look at the population growth over the last 70 odd years. So in 1950, the population was just 25,000. Now it is 3 million. So in 70 years, it's grown absolutely massively. And if we look at the graph, we can see it growing steadily here. And from about 2002, its population has just absolutely exploded. So in 2002, the population was 640,000. And in 2022, it's 3 million. So that's almost a five-fold increase in the population. Now, this can't happen naturally. So, of course, the reason for this is massive immigration, and this leads us to these two incredible statistics. Non-Qatari residents are coming in at 88.4% of the population, and Qatari at only 11.6% of the population. So foreigners outnumber the native Qataris by 8 to 1. And here is the second amazing statistic. The country is heavily male, currently split at just under 75% male and just over 25% female. So for every 3 males, there's only 1 female. So let's wrap our heads around this. This is absolutely incredible. Almost 90% of the population are foreigners, and males greatly outnumber females by 3 to 1. And this is the population pyramid. Look how much it's skewed towards men. On the left here in the blue, we have males, and on the right, we have females in pink. Look at this, for example, age 30, there's 85,500 males, 17,000 females. So males at the age of 30 outnumber females at the same age by 5 to 1. It's absolutely incredible. Now, if you look here at people like 16 and under, 17 and under, it's actually pretty even. So males here, 17, it's 12,000 to just over 10,000. I mean, it's still skewed towards males. But as you go to younger ages, it's a bit more even. So age 6, there's 14.3 thousand males, 13,500 females. But look at these numbers here from about age 18 all the way up to 70s and 80s. Males outnumber females in every age group from 17 onwards. And in some cases by a huge margin. I mean, look at this, age 40, 3 times more males than females. And even people in their 60s and 70s, like for example, age 76, there's almost double the amount of males than females. So what that tells you is that there has been an influx of foreign male workers for quite a long time to Qatar. So even back in like the 80s and 90s, this increase in population is coming from an increase in natural birth rates within Qatar and also immigration. But here from 2002, we've had huge economic growth, and so this is explained by a massive influx of foreigners. Most of this growth is foreigners coming in. And look at this graph here, the growth rate. In 2005, it was almost 15%. That's insane. And before, in 1995, it was 1.26. So the growth rate decreased from the mid-80s to the mid-90s, and then we just had a huge economic growth, and then the growth rate just increased dramatically. Now, if we look, since 2005, it's decreased again. So now it's down to about 1.73%. So this huge boom in population and economic development looks like it's calmed down for now, but we're still left with this amazing population pyramid where males vastly outnumbers females. Now, these foreign male workers, a lot of them are going to go back to their home countries. They might stay there for 4 or 5 years, but these had been getting replaced all these years. Now, maybe things will change with the growth rate decreasing and the Qatari economy seems to have eased off a little bit. Now, look at GDP per capita. Qatar is a very rich country. In fact, it is the richest country in the world. It's got a GDP per capita of 128,000. We got Macau, which is part of China, in second. And Luxembourg, the highest in Europe, 107,000. So even the richest country in Europe is outdone by Qatar by quite a large margin here. And you can be guaranteed that these migrant workers are not getting paid anywhere near this amount of money. So where are these foreigners coming from? You can see here a lot of them are coming from South Asia, Pakistan and India. So about 18% each coming from Pakistan and India. 10% are coming from Iran. So between these three countries, Pakistan, India and Iran, they make up a pretty substantial percentage of all the foreigners coming in. And because of this, they're making up a pretty substantial percentage of the overall population. I mean, 36% of the population of Qatar is either Pakistani or Indian. So that's just absolutely incredible. And here we can see a picture of the Doha skyline. It's a very impressive skyline. Skyscrapers. And if we just go across here, we can see members of the royal ruling family of Qatar. Qatar is an absolute monarchy. And we can see the images of the leaders. And all these skyscrapers were built by Pakistanis, Indians and Iranians for the most part. And here's a picture of some of the migrants here. These are the guys who built it. And some more skyscrapers here. And this is where all the money is coming from. Gas and oil. So 57.5% of Qatar's exports is gas. And then we have about 30% is oil. So Qatar is a very small country. I mean, 3 million is a pretty small population. It's very small in terms of land area. It's about 4,500 square miles. So in terms of the US, it would rank somewhere between Delaware and Connecticut in terms of land area. And for Europe, it would be between Kosovo and Montenegro. So it's a small country, it's still only 3 million, and it's expected to grow to about 4.1 million by 2093. So the population is expected to ease off here a bit. Now, how much of this is going to be foreigners and how much is going to be native population? Now, as I alluded to a few minutes ago, it's an absolute monarchy, and they've got pretty strict laws. They've got Sharia law, and alcohol is strictly forbidden, though there are a couple of exceptions to that. We can see down here, we have foreigners. A Filipino woman was sentenced to 100 lashings for adultery. So it gets pretty intense in terms of the law. And it might actually be for the best, because if we go back to these numbers here, 3 males for every 1 female. And especially if you look at the age groups, men in their like late teens and 20s and 30s outnumbering females. I mean, that's a disaster waiting to happen if you had a society that wasn't strict when it comes to the law. I mean, you got all these men wanting to get a bit of female action, and there's just not the females there to get the action for all the men. And what makes it even worse is that probably the vast majority of these females are not having relations with these foreign migrant workers. They're, getting married and having families with Qatari men. Like, the vast majority of these migrant workers are coming from Pakistan and India, and to be honest, they're probably treated like second-class citizens. Like, they're, an underclass. That they're not as good as Qatari people, and Qatari people are probably snobbish towards them and so on. Now, having said that, there's a small number of foreign workers which have prestigious jobs. So here it says, Qatar pursues a vigorous program of Qatarization, under which all joint venture industries and government departments strive to move Qatari nationals into positions of greater authority. Growing numbers of foreign educated Qataris, including many educated in the US, are returning home to assume key positions formerly occupied by expatriates. So it's saying here that some of the more prestigious jobs are being held by foreign workers. So probably a lot from the West, probably Europeans and Americans. Like, you probably have like CEOs and top engineers and architects and so on working in more prestigious, better paying jobs in Qatar. Qatar wants to put more native Qataris in these positions. But like I said, the vast majority of these foreign workers are these guys, these construction workers working probably very long hours, not getting paid that well. And indeed, there's been a lot of controversy regarding Qatar hosting the World Cup and mistreatment of workers. And a lot of workers have been killed constructing the soccer stadiums to host the World Cup. So these stats, again, they're incredible. I mean, you've got a lot of Western countries that have concerns about rates of immigration, but these rates are nothing compared to this. I mean, it's incredible. Imagine being outnumbered in your own country 8-1 by foreign workers. It's astounding. And being a male in Qatar is not good if you're a foreigner anyway, because there's not enough females to go around. And I suspect that a lot of the prestigious male workers in Qatar, the foreign workers, might even be bringing their families with them. Like, I can imagine engineers from Europe and America, they might be bringing their wife and kids over with them, and they don't have to worry about, getting action. But these foreign workers from India and Pakistan, they're not bringing their families. They can't afford to do it, and They're probably not even allowed visas to do that regardless. They just have to work in Qatar, make as much money as they can, not getting any female action, and just trying to save as much money as they can. They're probably sending a lot of the money back home as it is, and they'll spend maybe 4 or 5 years working in Qatar and then return home. And probably what's been happening over the years is that, for every Indian and Pakistani that returns back to Qatar, you're going to have another one or two going to Qatar to take up the work. And it's just like probably a revolving door of foreign workers just going there, building up the economy, building up the cities, building those skyscrapers that we see here. These skyscrapers were built by foreigners, whether it's architects from Western countries or migrant workers from South Asia. It's a crazy situation. Qatar is a fascinating country. It's massively wealthy, and I'm sure, like I was saying, this wealth is very unevenly distributed. The elites in Qatar are probably making a ton of money, and even the average Qatari citizen is probably making a decent amount of money, and probably most of them are working in the civil service, earning pretty good money, maybe $80,000-$90,000, more than that even. You've got the prestigious foreign workers probably making well over $100,000 a year, the CEOs and architects and engineers and so on. And the migrant workers from India and Pakistan, if they're lucky, they might be making half of this, maybe less even. So guys, let me know what you think about this crazy population pyramid. I plan to do videos about other countries' populations. I've done a few already, so check those out. Hit me up in the comments, like this video, subscribe. Until next time, see you guys later.